Are you looking at metrics the right way? This is Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips, and I have in front of me a little thing I'm putting together for a client about how to approach their sales funnel and lead generation metrics so that they can roll up the numbers and get better results in their day-to-day marketing activities. So first, let's discuss some of the real problem here. A lot of businesses don't know how to approach their marketing, and there's an unlimited supply of tools. Google Analytics, YouTube Studio, Aweber has a studio. If you have Infusionsoft or HubSpot, they all have these metrics dashboards that are great. There's a lot of details there, but many clients get stuck in the details. They start looking at, how many leads did we get? How many sales did we make? And there's so many other factors that really nothing happens. The activity gets lost in translation, and they don't have a clear plan for this month, this week, or this day on how they're going to move the needles on the dial. So how are you, so they'll say, hey, look, we got this many leads. They're looking in the rearview mirror, but they don't have a plan for how will we increase that number. Now, when I work with clients of a variety of sizes, from people selling advertising online like Auto Trader, people sell Boat Trader. I worked with them in the past. I've worked with a number of companies like Comcast that was working actually Cox Communications, not Comcast, Cox Communications, who was running a website. Their metrics went beyond what you'll see in Google Analytics and moved towards the monetary outcomes that were important to producing the results they need. And it was more database marketing than it was what we call today internet marketing. They had a funnel, but they didn't really care about the details of the funnel. They focused primarily on milestones. So one of the main things you want to do is, instead of focusing on, the leads that are generated from all your diverse channels. What are we doing on LinkedIn? What are we doing on Facebook? What are we doing on YouTube? They focused instead at a high level, which was the precursor to the order. So how many people were in the online store versus how many sales were produced. Now, just looking at your online store, let's say you're using Shopify, you can look at the number of sessions, the total number of orders, the origination of sessions, how many clicks through on a page, how many times did people put stuff in carts. To make decisions, you don't worry about all those details. You have to understand that the shopping cart is only one way of purchasing. People can also call in by telephone and purchase. People could send in an order form. There's like 7 different ways to purchase. And if you're looking at all this meta information, all these details on each of the different channels, you're missing out the opportunity to optimize from a channel to channel basis. So if you have Shopify, you can actually take orders in person. You can take orders online. You can take orders over the telephone. So we're going to roll all that up into Shopify in general and say, Shopify, how many sessions did we have? How many total orders did we have? And what was the value of all those orders put together? This is our high level metric that when we're measuring our funnels, that we're looking at. Now, all the other details are there. Those details are important. But if we're making decisions about our activity or what activities we need to do next, we don't want to bog ourselves down with a lot of details. So in the sales analysis, we're really just looking at total number of sessions, how many orders, and the value of all the sales combined. Okay, that starts us on our decision because, see, if you're working with a real-world client, not some internet marketer, a real-world client actually might have a store location where we want to look at how many people entered the store, how many total orders were there, and what was the total sales. Because that way we can compare 2 locations. So our downtown location, how much foot traffic did we get? Of that foot traffic, how many purchases were made? And then what's the total value of those purchases? That gets us started. Because now if we're comparing our rural location, we can have the same metrics. Now, the urban location may have a higher foot count and less sales. Now we can ask, well, what does that mean? Our rural location might have higher sales, less foot traffic, but a lower dollar value. So what does that mean? So there are more transactions happening in the rural store, but less dollar value. What does that mean? See, we can get from the high level stats an indicator where we can investigate and put in more detail. Now, a lot of companies, they might look at 7 different salespeople, and each salesperson's a channel, and they may compare each salespeople as a category against their online sales that are unassisted, or their dial-in sales from the telephone. See, this modeling is very often missed and ignored in small to medium-sized businesses. They might have 6 channels out there, and there's somebody assigned to each channel drilling down and looking at the details, and they're tagging records, and they're dumping all this stuff into the same back-end system, and nobody's really talking to each other, and it's a major problem. And even worse is, let's say we're looking at Shopify, and we're also measuring sales in the Google Analytics. There isn't some kind of analog so that we can say Shopify contributed to sales, and we're double counting them in Google Analytics. But can we validate that the number of sales that the system over at Shopify is reporting is the legitimate number of sales? And if we roll up all of our different sales channels that are all being measured in the same analytics tool, is my analytics tool correct? And is my composition meaningful? And see, you don't need 50 different measures to do this. In fact, it's hard to make a decision with 50 measures. What we're doing is we're rolling all this up to what are the core factors? What's our critical path? Well, we need to know how many sessions, how many opportunities did we have to make an offer? And then based on that, how many sales did we make? Now, if your number of orders is 0 in a channel, you go back and ask, well, how many offers did we make? See, if we have 136 sessions and 0 orders, and we ask how many offers did we make, and the answer is 0, well, then all that makes sense why we have no orders. But if we had 136 appointments and we have 0 sales, we can start figuring out what happened. Where did the ball drop? So there are just 5 steps in the continuous improvement process of analyzing our sales and lead funnels. A lot of people just create more lead funnels, and then they get 0 leads and they don't know what the hell's going on. A lot of people will make more offers. They'll make more products and more offers. But again, if they don't have this high level and analysis to do the continuous improvement, then if they aren't making any sales, they'll just say, well, I'll make a different offer. They don't get into the context of that offer. Now, again, the flip side is if you're getting into the context of the offer and you're down in the weeds and the minutia, you may not know that same offer in a different channel actually does produce sales. So one of the things I worked with a client in the past is they were doing everything online, man. It was all online. We're going online. We're selling in our online catalog, e-commerce all the way, and nothing was happening. I said, look, you've got to test the offer you're making online. I know you get millions of views, but your sales performance, you're not making any money. You're making sales, but you're not making any money. So let's take those offers from the online catalog and let's test them selling directly to targeted lists that you know are highly qualified as buyers. Because again, if you're getting a 10% conversion rate on your online catalog, how do you know that 10% is good? You might set a goal that you want 50% conversion rate. How do you know that that's appropriate? So what we did is we took their catalog. So somebody would land on a blog or a website, and there was kind of a general information page, and they would choose a catalog and get a list of specific offers. So what we did is we found people that fit that category. We rented a mailing list of people in that category. We sent them that initial information. So we sent them something where they could click and go to a specific product online. So we might have had a small little postcard or a letter that said 3 ways to solve a certain problem. And then it has Way number 1, product A. Way number 2, product B. Way number 3, product C. And then there was a call to action, click through, visit, whatever, because some of these we were testing on rented emails. And so it was like, you can click A to get more information about that product and that product's approach to solving the problem. Now, the back copy on the back end is exactly the same for the online catalog, because we were essentially linking a person we knew that was interested in a category directly to popular products in that category. Does that make sense to you? So instead of waiting for people to show up through search to the catalog or through the syndicated catalog listings on the search engines that do shopping searches, we actually rented a list of emails specific to the category in which people were going, introduced them to 3 of the popular offers, and measured that. And then we also did postcards or letters to rented mailing list or house list items for the same category and posted it back. Now, how do you measure and compare the results from these? Well, a lot of folks are just going to look at whoever had the most sales. But the right way of doing it is actually looking at the statistically relevant results and comparing it through normalization. So basically, you might have 1,000 views on the catalog, you might have 5,000 letters mailed, and you might have 5,000 emails. It doesn't mean that we're comparing apples to apples. You have to normalize the counts and come up with through ratios, kind of a comparison, and then you have to measure whether or not it's statistically accurate. So there's significance factors. Now, if you don't know that, you might have said, well, I sent 100 emails out and I made 50 sales. So that's a 50% conversion. And the next one is I sent 1,000 emails out and I only made a 10% conversion. And then the next one might be, I had 1,000 people show up at my website and I made a 15% conversion. None of that matters. None of that. You can't compare it just with that information. You need to look at what was the average transaction value? What was the cost per lead? You have to look at what was our profit per sale. You have to look at the customer lifetime value coming in from, the first acquisition being one of those channels. That's the only way to know how to make money from the marketing activity. See, just getting leads alone has no value. I got 5,000 to 10,000 people in my mailing list, and if I'm not offering them something, then I just have 5,000 to 10,000 people on a mailing list. I don't have anything actually worth from a business perspective. If I had 10 sales a month coming through and those people never bought something else from me, then I've got only the value of the initial transaction, less the cost to get them to the website or get them to take action with that particular offer, and less any general overhead contributed. So again, 5 steps. I'm going to give you the quick 5 steps real quick before I give you some information on where to get details or to ask questions. So the 5 steps start with 1, modeling your funnels. You need a clear picture of what your funnel looks like, but not in detail. You need to know what the milestones are. So this opening of the funnel and then the point where you've captured a lead. And then from the point you capture the lead to the point you've captured the sale. That has to be very clear, and you're measuring the counts here because, of course, you will have details somewhere of your campaigns. Next, you're going to capture the lead status. Now, it's a little bit involved to capture your lead status, but basically by platform, you're going to capture the very high-level contributing factors. Now, it depends on your business. There are likely 2 or 3 high-level factors that you have to know in order to see if there's movement in general with the platform. Now, the platform's still going to have all the details inside, but right now, to make a large decision and to compare channels, usually collecting by the platform is very useful. And then you're going to drive down to audit information. Like I said, in some online platforms, you might have 2 or 3 platforms for commerce that all roll up their stats into like a one analytics tool. So you're going to check to see if that's accurate, because if you're not getting accurate numbers, you're not able to get the results. Same thing kind of works with the sales funnel. And then number 4 is you're going to drill down. You're going to look at your high level stats. You're going to normalize those stats to make good comparisons. And then you're going to drill down with your findings. You're going to find some successes where things have kind of made a good conversion this month. And then you're going to go find out, this is what's missed by a lot of people, is you're going to go find out the details of that. What was the success? Can we repeat the success? What were the contributing factors? And then finally, number 5 is you're going to create an action plan. Now, I work with a lot of clients that they don't have the volumes, so they have a high dollar value, but they don't have the day-to-day sales volumes to do this on a daily basis. So they're doing previous month's numbers. So once a month, they sit down, they go through these 5 steps, they come up with an action plan, and then the next 2 months, they're implementing the action plan. Now, again, in the middle of that implementation, they're going to have another check because they're looking at this every month, and that's going to help inform to whether they stay on the plan or they adjust the plan. And in most cases, when you know what your successes are, you know what contributes to successes, you'll start building a catalog of successes. So you're going to repeat the successes every month, and you're going to challenge those successes with new information that you've learned. Maybe it's a new channel, maybe it's a new place to put an advertisement. And then you're going to look at these high-level factors to see what indicators show you where you need to drill down for more detail. And then, of course, you'll adjust a single action plan. What ends up happening is you'll end up with a marketing plan, an editorial calendar, and you'll end up kind of with the core offers that you want to introduce new prospects to, and then the core offers you want to introduce existing customers to. Now, I know I covered this very quickly. I went through a lot of details in a short amount of time. I'm looking at diagrams here, like the diagram of my sales funnel, diagram of my lead flow. If you want hands-on support, mapping these things out for your business so you can see the key performance indicators that help you kind of from a leadership position drive the successes more consistently and the sales more scalably, then visit us at www.adbriefings.co.uk. I can present this in 2 different ways. If you're a marketer and copywriter or business development professional, we can talk about this and how you implement this as a service with your clients. Because there are some nuances. There are characteristics here that you fully understand, and I can describe the 5 steps, and you can do these 5 steps. You know how to map out a funnel. You know how to look at campaigns versus individual. So when you're looking at a larger marketing campaign, you might have a series of letters, and you need to measure each letter in the series, so you know which letters stay in the series or not, but you have an idea how to roll things up. I'll tell you right now, most of your clients have no clue. So I can present this for practitioners to teach you how to help clients solve these problems. But more importantly is I can actually help you set up clients to hire you for these services. So I can teach this to the marketing manager, the sales vice president, the business owner, to help them understand the value of hiring somebody like you. And then I can also teach you how to implement this kind of service for your clients. It really prevents the overwhelm that comes with having so many things that nobody really talks about. You know, if you're selling a piece of software that promises greater and better metrics, whatever you show the other person is going to be great because they got garbage right now. But when you have 3 platforms like your CRM platform and your Google Analytics platform and your email platform, and maybe you're testing another platform. You got a little larger company, and you're already running Infusionsoft, and you're gonna do a campaign and test ClickFunnels because it's a specialized campaign. It's a one-off activity. How do you roll all these metrics together to make a decision? Well, the ways that you're doing it right now is not working. It's not giving you the insight you need to repeat successes. And so I can train you on this. If you like training on this, if you like hand-holding in this area, if you'd like me to audit your sales and marketing performance dashboard, you may not even have a dashboard. You might just be winging it. But the key metrics, the key indicators, the high-level information that you need to make decisions as a marketer, as someone who is driving the business sales and outcomes, then visit me at www.adbriefings.co.uk. Go to the Contact Us page and write me with your questions. Because really what happens when you have a system in place for collecting your high-level metrics and then making decisions about what you're finding. You're validating and making decisions about what you're finding. You have an opportunity for continuous improvement. You'll know what success is: generate the leads that buy. Not just leads, but the leads that become customers. You'll know all kinds of things about their costs. And more importantly, is you'll know what types of offers are creating sales. So it doesn't matter if you've got 1 or 5 retail locations. It doesn't matter if you sell online, offline, and over the telephone. It doesn't matter how many channels you have out there. What matters is that you can get business intelligence that helps you apply resources more effectively for a higher return on investment. And so again, if you're a practitioner, like many of our ad briefings customers are, I can teach you how to do this in a simplified way that helps you deliver it as a service. And if you like, and if there's a couple of you, I can actually teach your clients, kind of white labeled, I can teach your clients why it's so important for them to hire you to do this type of thing. But again, if you just have questions on how to improve your metrics and performance measures in your own business, how to do analysis of your sales funnels, and how to capture this high-level information and read the tea leaves to actually get results, then visit me. I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefings Copywriting Tips, and ask your questions at www.adbriefings.co.uk. Hey, this has been a special edition of the podcast. I want to thank you for being a part of this. Be sure to like and subscribe. Be sure to get involved with what we're doing. This stuff is worth tens of millions of dollars to the folks who will implement it. And that's not hyperbola. It's fact. If you are able to know what marketing campaigns generate customers and produce sales at a profit, you can just keep multiplying this. It's 5 steps, guys. It's 5 steps. It narrows down your action plan. It drills down into what works and what doesn't. It collects the metrics in a quick way so that you can do this. And some people do this on a daily basis. Now, of course, there are ways to automate it. If you've got questions, we can help you do that. But all in all, I want to thank you for visiting. I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefings Copywriting Tips, where we help marketers, business development professionals, and copywriters transform client profits with words that sell. Thanks for listening.